Can somebody check to see if I'm actually live? I'm gonna not do picture mode. I actually have 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's still uploading.
Sir, you're missing out on the ground. So there's like only a half inch left. She says she wants to take those walls. School you business.
Powered by Riverside. Powered by Riverside.
Can you check and see if I'm actually live? Can you pull out your phone and go on YouTube? See if I'm. Oh, you did. Okay. Hey, everybody. We have.
Powered
it
by
just turned
Riverside.
7 o'clock. So I'm gonna go and get started. Let's see. Okay, here we are. Thank you guys so much for coming. Our topic today is 5 months, 4 countries, and 1 beautiful journey. So my name is Dr. Crysta. Thank you for coming to On Sabbatical with Dr. Crysta. I am excited to be here. I have stories to tell. I've been sitting on these stories for months. I returned to the United States about I think 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks since I've been back. And let me tell you, it was really tough when I first got back. And I'm really ready to be here to tell you what happened. I want to chat with everybody and catch up. Please tell me in the chat where you're joining from. And if I know you, I'll give you a shout out. I invited quite a few people to come. And if they're not live, they'll be on the replay because I really want to celebrate and acknowledge the people who did so much to make me feel welcome and just at home when I was so far away from home. So the 4 countries that we're talking about, for those of you that know your flags, are Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, and France. And I'm actually going to be covering the countries on my channel in reverse. So this week and the next couple of weeks, I'll be doing videos about France. And then I was actually only in Malaysia for 10 days, so that will be a little bit shorter. And also, I spent quite a bit of time in Vietnam, so a lot of the stuff that I have to share with you today happens to be from Da Nang, Vietnam. I did record 3 episodes in Thailand, so if you haven't seen those, you should check those out. But I have more content about Thailand that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight and in future videos. So I also want to talk about my birthday. I turned 60 in France with my kids, and that was really super special. And I got to travel during the war, which is still going on. I was in Doha at Qatar Airlines. So I want to tell you a little bit about that. And it turned out to be not quite as bad as I thought. I spent a lot of time worried about it. And so tonight we're going to get into all of it. And so I really want to welcome the room. I want to see you. And basically, if this is your very first time on the channel, I'm so glad that you're here on a Sunday evening. There's so much you could be doing on a June Sunday evening. I want to shout out to some of my communities, especially the Sisters of Influence, who I know were on a live. Many of them were on a live at 2 o'clock today. And so I had a chance to be a part of that for quite a bit. So anybody who found this channel recently, you picked the perfect night to show up. Because I'm going to give you basically an overview of what I've been doing for the last 6 months, really all of 2026. I left on December 2nd and I went to Bangkok, Thailand. But before we get into that story, which is a really good story, I want to go to the chat and see if people have put anything in the chat yet. Okay, so thank you. I see that my friend Marseille is here. Marseille is a friend of mine that actually she doesn't know. I don't know that she knows this, but when I first met her, oh God, a long time ago, I want to say nearly 20 years, probably not exactly 20 years. She was a person who traveled to Aruba and had been at least once or twice when I met her. And the thought of somebody going to Aruba just seemed to blow my mind at the time because I had barely been, I'd been to like New York City. So she's one of the first women that I ever met that I would say was a travelista. I had family members that travel, but she and I are like the same age. And so I was just really impressed with the fact that she was saving to go to Aruba and going to Aruba. And like I said, this was when I met her 20 years ago. And you know what? I can barely see. Let's see if this, I can't include this. But I see somebody saying hi, somebody saying Southwest US. From Stonecrest, thank you so much for joining. From Decatur, Georgia. From St. Louis. Oh, how exciting. Somebody said 20. Oh, that must be Marseille, 20 plus. Decatur, Georgia, 20 plus. Greetings from Chicago and the Exodus Summit. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I will try to remember to go back and forth to the chat. There will be a section where I will be answering questions in the chat. So if you have a question about solo travel, slow travel, what is a sabbatical lifestyle, put that in the chat so that I can cover that. We're not going to be here all night. I'm thinking an hour, but if it turns out that I can't get to it all in a reasonable length live stream, I am planning content, recorded content for the rest of the month. And I will make sure that I do a video to answer any questions that I don't get to. It's my France buddy from Texas. Oh, and so your picture is on one of the ones that I selected. So my friend Darlene is here, and so I'm so happy to have her. So I want to get started by telling, I guess, the first story, which is what people call the origin story. So while you're putting your questions in the chat, at the end, I'm going to have a heartfelt list of questions to thank. So I don't want to get caught up in thanking everybody now. But I do want to say that if you're not yet on my Substack, that is a place where you can get deep information. I do post on TikTok and also on Instagram. Some of you may know that, but I am basically doing like 30-second reels. So some of the best photographs from my trip have already shown up as anywhere from 15 to 30-second reels on TikTok or Instagram. I would say that that's kind of like the gravy or the icing of my content. The real longer form, better views are things that I have saved specifically for you, my YouTube audience, because this is really, I think, where the future of my channel and my brand really is. And the other thing I'm going to talk about tonight, if you're here to the end, is my free school community called Savvy Sisters Travel and Thrive. And right now it's just women only, but I have, believe it or not, I have attracted a lot of male travelers and viewers that are in my category, 50 and up. So I definitely want to tell you the first story, which is how did I even get to Bangkok? That's the biggest question that I get from a lot of people. Uh-oh, I'm realizing I don't have a napkin. Okay. I can't believe I don't have a napkin. I'm gonna have to get up. I'm sorry. My children were down here and they disappeared. They brought me a cup of tea, but no napkin, so I'm already making a mess. So why did I go to the countries I went to And why did I start out in Bangkok? That's a question that I often get. So I want to start out by saying that how I ended up in Asia has a lot to do with a subject that is really dear to my heart called, and in fact, my most recent Substack article is about this. It's called the Sabbatical Tribe Test, and it's about this idea of having a sabbatical tribe. So I would say that my core travel tribe comes from two communities. One of them is the CEO Collective, and I believe Teresa, if she's not here tonight, she will be here tonight. She's one of the many people who, I guess, started that group or got us going. And that is a group of freelancers that I met through Exodus Summit. And one of the women that I met through the CEO Collective, her name is Quinn, and Quinn lives in Nantes, France. So one of the reasons I was in France, besides celebrating my 60th birthday, is because I had not just Quinn, but another friend who actually lived in France. And as you've just heard, my friend Darlene also and her husband Richard, they also visited me while I was in France. So the reason I bring that up is because another one of the communities that really has, I would say, empowered me and given me a lot of courage and resources, not just emotional, but sometimes just information about planning. So Dr. Maya, I don't know if she's on tonight because she was just on live for probably 2+ hours on her own channel, giving an amazing topic. Fly Like Me PhD is her channel. Dr. Maya and I met in an Exodus Summit community, and because we're both academics, and I also had thought about doing a YouTube channel just for academics, particularly academics that were disillusioned and disgusted. But I was like, okay, that sounds kind of negative. Maybe that's not a good way to go. But we bonded over, I guess, me sharing that in a room somewhere. And she invited me to be part of a group that's called the Sisters of Influence. And the Sisters of Influence is a really powerful community. And these are women, some of which already live abroad. There's currently 10 of us. And I think when we started, we had 10, but we have a different 10 than we started with. Well, in that community that Dr. Maya invited me to, and she and I have been guests on each other's channels, she and I became friends with a woman by the name of Dr. Davia. Dr. Davia also has a YouTube channel. And oh God, the name of her channel is actually not coming to the top of my head, but I will look it up and it will definitely be in the description. By all means, please, if you know Dr. Davia's channel of Dr. Davia. So Dr. Davia lives in Bangkok. So right now, as we speak, it is 7:10 a.m. in Bangkok, and she is up getting ready to go to work. It is Monday morning. So I talked with her a little bit today to tell her that I was shouting her out. So she moved to Bangkok after being offered a job, I want to say in Vietnam, somewhere else, same company. So she interviewed for the job, got the job, and then they decided that they wanted her in Bangkok instead of there. I'm putting all her business in the street. But long story short, she was going to be there. She started, I guess, at the end of the summer last year, and she was going to be there over the holidays, basically alone. Not alone, but you know what I mean. Her family was in the US and they had visited her at other times, but not then. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to come. And she was planning to be in the US. So I overlapped with her some time before she left, and I overlapped with her some time after she left. And because she invited me to stay in her beautiful, gorgeous 3-bedroom condo, I was able to make a quick decision to come because I knew at least the first 6 weeks, I think I stayed with her total, I only had to worry about the plane ticket and, of course, you know, food expenses. And food in Southeast Asia in general is very affordable. So I was here, I want to say it was October. I told her I was going to come and I don't think she believed me. And then I eventually bought a ticket. And so then I was on my way. So I chose Bangkok because of Dr. Davia, but I knew that Bangkok being a big city, sort of like Chicago, it was going to be more than I wanted to deal with. So people did some research, and she had never been to Chiang Mai, but other people had told me that Chiang Mai would be probably more my speed. Chiang Mai is a place that's kind of known for its wellness and more, I guess, naturalistic perspective, whereas I want to say Bangkok has 12 million people. I don't know how big Chiang Mai is, but it's not even a third of that. I would be shocked if Chiang Mai had 3 million people in it. But it was big enough, and I had a wonderful time there. And in fact, Dr. Davia also came to visit me in Chiang Mai. So I got a chance to do the Chiang Mai experience. And I actually have, as I said, created videos while I was in Thailand, both in Bangkok and in Chiang Mai. And in fact, I think I was still going live weekly when I was there. So some of you may already know that. So if you're new to the channel, I mean, if you may want to check that out if Thailand is on your list. So I do want to say that Chiang Mai was definitely a place that got my heart. I loved Chiang Mai, and I could see myself going back to Chiang Mai to stay for an extended period of time. Not that I didn't enjoy my time in Bangkok, but the thing I would say about Bangkok, that for me, the best thing about Bangkok is that it has a huge community. I also met and built community with a group of women called the Mature Women of Bangkok. It's a community that was started by Yvette Malcian, who has also been interviewed on my channel. In fact, the last recorded interview I posted was Yvette, and she was a foreign diplomat who retired, and she's now Dr. actually Yvette Malcian. She has earned her doctorate in recent months. So I'm very proud of her and excited for her about that. But I had a chance to meet for the very first time, speaking of community and how the world is sort of like, what is it, 7 degrees of freedom? The gallivanting grandma, Diamond Crysta, who, we share a name, and spent at least 3 different interactions with her, experiences with her. And so that was really very, very special to me because I had been following her channel when I was trying to decide whether or not I want to do house sitting. And for those of you who don't know, I am an international house sitter, but I don't house sit as much as I used to because now I basically travel in such a way that I don't have to worry about the lodging or the cost of lodging unless I'm in a really expensive city. So in about a month, I'll be in London or near London in Portsmouth, house sitting. And house sitting is also an amazing way to be able to fund your travel. If something you're interested in, please put that in the chat. So Chiang Mai was not what I expected. I expected to be able to rest. I expected to see beautiful temples. I expected to eat really good food. What I did not expect was to find my people, my sabbatical tribe, through a young woman by the name of Sabrina Coach. She goes by Soul. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right, but she has a community called Retro Recess, and it's sort of like the importance and the value of play for adults to be able to relax and have fun. So Sabrina Cates of Retro Recess curated this whole world of events for English-speaking creatives, expats, living in Chiang Mai. And I was not only there, but I enjoyed it so much that I went every week. I was there for 6 weeks and I went 5 times. The very first day that I landed in Chiang Mai, there was it was a Wednesday and they were meeting and I just pushed my way through and went there. And I walked in there not knowing a soul, and she has such a beautiful, warm spirit and was so welcoming. And I really did not, I've really always loved creative writing, but I would say I'm a consumer. I don't really see myself as a poet, even though I had in my 20s written some poetry. And so the room, I have a really beautiful picture that I actually got off of her Instagram that was taken outside at night of us inside a lit studio, basically writing poetry, and it's really beautiful. So the name of the group was the Loose Leaf Playground, and it was a writing club for both creative and poetry writing. And while I was there, we did a lot of poetry. And let me tell you, it was just such a beautiful, encouraging group of young people. I would say I was the oldest person there. I had the good fortune to invite a friend of mine, which another way that Chiang Mai really blessed my heart was I ran into somebody that I knew from my professional world, and his name is Dr. Brian Ragsdale. Let me check the chat to see if maybe he's here. He said he might be here. Greetings from Minneapolis. Retro Recess. Yeah, Retro Recess. Immunization. Okay, these are some of the questions. I don't see if I was just going to check quickly to see if he was here. Okay, so basically I am, 59.9 years old in a country where I can't speak the language. I'm now in Chiang Mai, which is so beautiful, so many cafes, so much street food. I have 2 little trinkets that I brought to share with you all. This one is a little tea cup, that I bought, but it's a pottery. So fish and seafood is something that's really important there. The other thing that I did with Retro Recess with Soul is a tea blending workshop. So I actually picked this up in the mall, but it's a little kit of herbal tea ingredients. And she basically taught us recipes of different ways that we can use tea to basically soothe either certain health issues or mood issues or energy, focus. Just a lot of really great information about tea blending. And I just really enjoyed that as much as I did the outlet of poetry. And I actually, knew that I had written poetry and actually started 2 novels also in my 40s. Again, that was a long time ago at this point, and I hadn't really thought about the fact that those were things that I did that really brought me a lot of joy. So the second thing that I want to tell you guys about was when I went to Da Nang, and I think I actually have some pictures that I can share now. Let's see if I can figure out how to get to my media. So because I haven't gone live in over 2 months, it's like I have to reteach myself how to do the stuff that it takes. And I don't know where. Let's see. I want to start with these pictures. Okay, so this is actually in Da Nang, Vietnam. So that was the next place that I went. And Da Nang, Vietnam was a really special place because, I'm sorry, I gotta close this out. So when I was in Da Nang, so one of my other strategies, I guess, that I should tell you guys about is I like to mix up Airbnb stays with hotel stays. And one of the hotels that I have been looking forward to staying in is called the Voco Mabel. It's a very well-researched and covered hotel in Da Nang, Vietnam. And Da Nang, I went to primarily because I love the beach. If you followed me at any time, you know that I have posted some really amazing pictures about coasts and mountains. And what I loved about the Da Nang pictures is you will see there's the beach and then the mountains are in the back. K-He Beach is the area where I was staying. And in fact, this hotel, Voca Mabel, is actually across the street from that particular beach. And there's an entertainment venue. There's a lot of restaurants. You name it, it's on that street. So this young lady I met at the breakfast, and the breakfast buffets, by the way, were absolutely amazing. All the food was amazing. But one of the reasons that it's amazing is that it's all fresh, it's all locally produced, and it's also the level of service and attention to detail. I would say that flowers and making things beautiful, including plating and how they set up the buffet. I actually have a picture of the buffet that I don't think I picked to share with you guys tonight, but you will see lots of pictures of food in the upcoming videos because I'm a foodie and I love to cook and do those types of activities. So I learned how to make a Vietnamese coffee. So what she's holding is the special apparatus they use to do a Vietnamese coffee, and that's what she was bringing to me. And that was actually 4 days into my stay in Vietnam. So I was still trying to really understand the differences between Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai has also, Thailand also had great coffee, and I had amazing coffee. And I had heard about coconut coffee, but I didn't have one in Vietnam. So maybe they have one too. So I actually fell in love with coconut coffee at this hotel on this day. But at this particular time, she's holding the apparatus that is used to make a Vietnamese coffee. And it's a personal coffee pot. So she's like bringing it to the table and was trying to explain to me how to do it. She's like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll just bring it to you. So that was really special. The other thing, so this is also in the, so as I mentioned, the kind of place where there's koi fish everywhere. The cafes have amazing views. This is a place that had a waterfall, koi fish, and a stream running through it, as well as this mist tunnel. And one of the beautiful women that I ran into, Sarah and Jay, they also have a YouTube channel, but her name is Ruth. So Ruth and Anita and I went to this cafe and we had a wonderful time. Just kind of talking and getting to know each other better, and I'm really honored that they were able and willing to really invite me in because being a slow traveler, I'm only in a place for about a month, sometimes 6 weeks, like in Thailand, but here I was only there a month, but they kind of took me under their wing. I met them at Bible study, and by the second week, we were kind of concocting things to do, and that was really special. So that was a picture from there. I think these are Da Nang. Okay, so these are not Da Nang. I'm trying to do them in order. Okay, so it looks so also in Vietnam. So this is Sarah and Jay at an excerpt from their content creation workshop. I had the opportunity to do two workshops for content creation. And in this particular workshop, Jay and Sarah invited us or exposed us to other people who were big content creators. I think their channel is a couple years old. And I actually made it to Da Nang without knowing that they were YouTubers, but I did meet lots of YouTubers in Chiang Mai with Delightful is her name. She's a Japanese content creator who's really fabulous, and I went to two of her workshops. So I would say that not only was I resting, not only was I enjoying food, not only was I meeting people and connecting and building up my what I call the sabbatical tribe, but I was also really investing in my business in terms of really meeting people who had skills that I wanted to develop and model my channel and my growth after. And so that was really special. And we also had a weekly Bible study, which is where I actually met Sarah, and she's actually, I want to say, the founder or the organizer of that. And one of the things that we did was every week she created these really interesting, fun games for us to be able to explore different topics, which I really loved her creativity for that. And this is another picture from Da Nang, Vietnam. This is the beach. Can somebody just confirm for me in the chat that you guys are seeing these videos that I'm actually putting on? One time I did a live and I was putting pictures up and nobody was seeing them. I just want somebody to please let me know if you guys are seeing them. Let's see. Okay, so this is France. I'm not in France yet. This is me and Darlene in France. I want to make sure I don't have any... Oh, okay, these might all be France. I'm just gonna make sure I got all the Vietnam. Okay, so this is the cafe where it was called Heaven Cafe, and this is the beautiful view. It's kind of up on the third floor, and it has this little walkway where you can go outside. And on the other side it's not really, even though there is an ocean, it's not the ocean. It's kind of more, I forget what they call it, like it's a peninsula, but it's basically a waterway, but not the ocean. That this cafe overlooks, and it was just really amazing. You do feel like you're out in the heavens. And so the Bible study met there. Okay, this is also in Da Nang, but this is the picture of the hotel, and they had a live pianist playing. Actually, this is the wrong picture. I was hoping to get you this might be her. The other thing that I did while I was in Da Nang at the Voca Mabel is I had an afternoon tea service. So this is the picture of the beautiful artistic display of the picture. So again, I'm turning 60, so to me this was my this was kind of the end of March, and so this particular experience was something that I kind of indulged and splurged in while I was traveling, so that I could just do something special. And there's actually a beautiful infinity pool that overlooks the mountains as well as the ocean outside on the other side of this window, but I'm saving those pictures for when I actually do the video about Da Nang. So let me stop here and go back to see what else. I actually have a brief outline. I just want to quickly look and see what I was supposed to share. Okay, we talked about that. I don't have any pictures from Malaysia. I actually didn't take as many pictures in Malaysia because, again, I was at a hotel and I stayed only in the hotel. It was a great hotel, not as fabulous as Voca Mabel, but still, I didn't do as much going out, basically, or experiences. I did a few things, which I will share in the recorded videos. So I will say, okay, we talked about Bible study, talked about Ruth, Voca Mabel, the birthday celebration. And the one thing I didn't tell you about was the co-working community. One of the things that I did that was really fun was I also did Brothers and Sisters of Da Nang, like many of the expat groups, especially Adventures While Black. It's huge. I would say Brothers and Sisters of Da Nang is a younger group. If I'm guessing, they're under 5 years old, whereas I think the other group is probably much, because the hosts of Adventures While Black, they have probably 20 different subgroups. I think they're more like 10 years old, but don't quote me on that. But I know they're way older than Brothers and Sisters of Da Nang. But Brothers and Sisters of Da Nang has lots of different special interest groups. Pickleball is really big there. They have kind of like a I forget what it's called. I would call it a day party. So I have some great shots and some great music. There's a person in the group, leadership of the group that um, is a DJ, a really excellent DJ. And so I have some great film from that event as well. But the co-working group was another thing that I went to many times that I learned a lot. That's actually one of the places where, besides going to the workshop, where Daisha, the content creator, and I would say that I discovered her in Japan because she was living in Japan. She did a lot of content on Japan for several years. I think she went to Japan in 2018, 2019. And she was in her early 20s at the time. She's still pretty young. But she now travels all over the world, and especially is primarily traveling through Asia still, creating content. And I would say she's a mega YouTuber. I don't know if she's at 1 million subscribers yet, but she's huge. And she's also on Instagram and all platforms. And the workshop that I did with her that was really good was really about how to pitch yourself to get sponsors on your channel, even if your channel is small. So I didn't implement anything that she taught me, but she taught me some great stuff that now that I'm home, I'll be able to dig into. So I'm going to skip ahead now to France. So I have, you saw the picture. Okay, now I don't know what I have to do to find this picture. I'm guessing that it was okay. So this is the view outside my room at the hotel that I stayed. And the thing that was so nice about France was that the hotel that we stayed in, I actually stayed in 3 different hotels, but this particular hotel was over a plaza that had all these cute little restaurants and a really beautiful gelato spot as well. And this location is also adjacent to one of the more famous castles and fortresses of Chinon. So this takes place in Chinon. But let me back up and tell you, before I got to France, I forgot to tell you one of the more exciting stories. I don't have a way to put this. Let me see if I can find this. I was looking for my script teleprompter. Here we go. Let's see if I can get back to, I know what the story is I want to tell, but I think there was a lead in that was really important that I wanted to get to. Okay, now I know what I was really wanting to share with you guys. Okay, so right about the time that I'm in Malaysia, so one of the things that I did not do in Malaysia was I did not connect with any expat groups. I did not know anybody there. The reason I actually went to Malaysia, to be honest with you, was because some of you may have heard, but Malaysia is one of the places, Kuala Lumpur, that has these comprehensive medical exams that are like a couple $100s, where they do 20 or 30 different medical tests and imaging tests, and anything that you think you might have or it's in your family history that you're really worried about. It is one of the ones where medical services and medical treatment, medical tourism is big, and people from all over the world go there for this particular test. It's like a well women exam. I did learn while I was in Bangkok that they do them there too. So moving forward, I would go there. But that was the reason I wanted to go to Malaysia. Malaysia is also borders the southern, is on the southern border of Thailand, so it's close. So all of the trips that I took from Bangkok to Chiang Mai was around $100 each way, and then I went back to Bangkok because my ticket to Da Nang was from Bangkok, and then I also made a trip from Da Nang, Vietnam to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and that ticket was also, so all the tickets were like 100. And to be honest with you, I actually flew, what is it, like economy plus, or fancy economy. So I had a chance to experience Vietnam airline. I forget what the Malaysian airline, Malaysia Air, that might not be the name of it, but it was the Malaysian airline, the Vietnam airline, and I also flew Bangkok Air. Bangkok Air is a separate than the Thailand Air. So all 4 of them I got a chance to fly. And let me tell you, regional airlines there are really beautiful. The flight crew is dressed immaculately, the service was good, the food was good. I really enjoyed it. So in the middle of this, what's going on in the US is, it's always craziness, but just when you think you can't get worse, it gets worse. And so one of the things that happened was the war in Iran broke out right after I bought a ticket from Qatar Airlines, which they're headquartered in Doha, which is right across the street or across the strait. I don't know if it's the Strait of Hormuz, but it's right across from. I should have probably looked that up before I said that. But there is a body of water that separates them from Iran. They're very close, and so when Iran is attacking the United States, of course they don't have the type of what is it called, warheads that can get to the United States. So they attack our allies, of which Qatar is. So I had bought this ticket with a 24-hour layover in Doha, which is the city where they're headquartered. And it was going to be a wonderful experience. It was going to be an opportunity for me to spend 24 hours there, try some food. I'd never been to the Middle East. I thought this would let me see whether or not I wanted to be in the Middle East or wanted to visit to the Middle East. I'll be honest, I hadn't really. I know people who've been there and who've said like it's safe and it's good and I should go. But I had been wary, to be honest with you, when people tell me that they had gone. And maybe, a lot of that comes from lack of information. Now that I've been to 12 countries in basically 2 years, I'm really grateful that I now have the courage to ask better questions, to do different kinds of research, to be able to feel better. But suffice it to say that my flight was canceled. It was actually canceled not once, but twice. The third time, not only that, but I spent about a week, every day for a week, trying to get through to a human being so that I could rebook the ticket. I did eventually rebook the ticket, but I was still worried. It required me to go through Doha, but I wasn't going to be allowed to leave the airport. And it was an overnight flight. I was going to get in at like midnight and fly out the next morning at 5 a.m. So I was going to have 5 hours in the Doha airport, which I knew was probably pretty safe, military and whatnot, protected or whatever. So I was still worried, but it was a mitigated risk, you might say, right? So I know a lot of people worry a lot about safety as solo travelers and international travel in general, particularly in this area where, the United States does not have the respect that it used to be. I would say the other thing that's really challenging in this day and age is that people, if you're in an area, like this happened to me several times in Kuala Lumpur, if you're in an area where the Southeast Asian local people are well read and are watching international news and well educated, and I'm sure there's educated people who are following international news all over the world and in every city, right? But I was exposed, let me say it differently. I was exposed to more people who were following the world events, partly because of the war, but partly because that's what they do, because of the type of work that they do. And also because I was staying in hotels, I was staying more likely with an international audience. People were very comfortable coming up to me when they found out, when you open your mouth, they know you're American. So, because our English is different than British people or Canadians or Australians. And I had these conversations with British people and with Australians as well. What do you think about what's going on in the US and why don't you all this or why don't you all that? And why is, so I try to be the person in that scenario, basically to be very open and willing to discuss. Fortunately for me, as a social psychologist, for many years, I talked about and taught about social issues and did research on social issues to the depth that I could explain them to undergraduate students that I worked with. So I'm really grateful that I had that background of understanding that people are not necessarily attacking me, or not to personalize it, but they're just very frustrated and disappointed with what's going on in the world. And I could see how if you're in another country, it would seem like the American people should be doing better, right? We feel that. I don't know about you. And this is not a political channel, although I have a lot of ideas about politics that are not germane for tonight's conversation. I do think that if you're going to be an international traveler, you want to be prepared to decide in advance how you're going to engage with people who ask you questions when they find out you're an American. I think in general, Americans have been very arrogant and have shown up around the world as tourists, like the world owes us something, and because our dollar is strong, that they should be bending over for us. I would say that our dollar is not. I don't know that I don't know enough about the history of currency to know that our dollar has always been this weak, but our dollar is much weaker than it has been in the past. And in fact, it is actually weaker than it was a year ago when I left and 2 years ago when I started traveling through Europe. Because I had the opportunity to be in France, and I had been in France before, I went to France for a long weekend when I spent 2 months in Spain. I didn't like Barcelona, it was too crowded. So I took a bus over the border and went to Montpellier. So I had been to France when the dollar was, don't quote me, but it was about $2 difference than now. The euro to the dollar was about, not sorry, not $2, 20% difference. So I could feel it in my own budgeting how much more expensive things were, even in the central Loire Valley region, which is where I went next. But what I do want to tell you guys, just to wrap up this little portion of the story about Qatar Airlines, is that when we got off the plane, there was a wonderful crew waiting for us. We did get hotels, and even though we only had a total of 6 hours, we still left the hotel and went to a wonderful, comfortable boutique hotel near the airport, including transportation, and Qatar Airlines paid for all of it. There were hotels that I guess whose business had been diminished because of the war, but they had rooms because a lot of people who, obviously canceled trips, obviously if it's a war, people who had trips canceled them or rescheduled them. So because there were all these unsold hotel rooms, they had a deal with the airlines when stranded passengers came. And I met people at that hotel, by the way, who actually their flight had gotten in at like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. So they had more time. But it was nice to be able to go sleep in a real bed for 4 hours and to get up, take a real shower, and put on clothes. All I had was my personal item. I didn't have any clothes really with me. But I was really grateful for that. And I thought that was such a sweet's not the right word. Such a generous, airlines make money, but it's a generous gesture for them to do that for passengers with the booking. I don't feel like that's something that happens to people in the United States that find themselves in that. So I walked through a lot of fear, cancellations, rebooking, worry, sleepless nights. I told my prayer partner to pray with me about that. And honestly, it was probably one of the smoothest travel experiences of the entire trip. The Doha airport was stunning. The staff was gracious. I felt safe. And I want you to hear this clearly. My fear almost cost me the entire journey. I mean, I know I had to get home because when you listen to the headlines, it's easy to just be scared. But, I am a woman of faith, so I prayed about it, and I knew I had to get to France because there was no other way home. And I had paid for the ticket, and I didn't have money for another ticket. That ticket was, I want to say $550. And as a person who's a pensionada, I wasn't giving up $550 just for fear. So I was like, Lord, I have to trust that you're going to get me there. And he did. And so the last phase of this journey was Paris. And I went to Paris because my daughter has been before, loved it. I had never been there. She's like, Mom, it would be beautiful for you to turn 60 in Paris. And so I had not seen them since December 2nd. So I was so excited to see them. And I really thought that I would like Paris more. I don't know that honestly I really saw Paris. We saw all of the sights and the iconic things. We were there 6 days. And to be honest with you, I'm not that kind of traveler, but when you're traveling with millennials who are in their 20s and 30s, you have to be able to be flexible. I'm a solo traveler, so when I don't feel like going to something, I don't go to something. But when you're in a group, in a family group, you don't want to impact their experience. So although I did not fall in love with Paris, I fell in love or back in love with the beauty that France has to offer. And I fell in love with my children. Not that I was out of love with my children. So they crossed an ocean basically to be with me to celebrate my 60th birthday. They treated me by taking care of the lodging. So that was pretty exciting. We did go see the Eiffel Tower. We ate tons of croissants, tons of baguettes. And that's really the memory, and the cheese. Oh my God, the cheese was amazing. My amazing wine experiences actually started in the Loire Valley. And let me just go through, for the sake of time, the itinerary, and then I'm going to look at to see what questions we have. So I took a train from Paris to Nantes after David and Deborah went back to the US to their jobs. And then from Nantes to Angers, and Angers is where I actually celebrated my birthday. Some of my favorite photos are from a park that my hotel room was overlooking in Angers. And then I went to Tours, and Tours is just barely north of Chinon. I stayed in Tours for a couple of days. So I have another friend who lives or is in the process or just gotten permanent residency, who's permanently moving there, who's been traveling there back and forth for like 10, 15 years. And he's a former photographer, and he was also really amazing and gracious and took me around to look at all these castles. So the first set of video that you're going to see is actually from there. And that is where my friend Darlene and her husband joined me from. And so I'm going to transition into the Q&A. I want to hear from you. What do you want to know? I'm going to see what questions are in the chat. I see that there were 2 there when I peeked earlier. I get a lot of questions about budgeting. I'm going to do a whole episode just about how much a 6-month sabbatical costs me and what my budget is when I go for 6 months versus a 3-month sabbatical. And then I'm going to close out with some of the acknowledgments that I want to give to the different people in groups. But, because none of what you've heard just happened in a vacuum. I was really held up by the most extraordinary people who so what I want to know is find the other pictures from France. Let's see if we can find them. So this is Darlene and I at the top of the fortress with the city of Chinon behind us. And we were very, very happy. I don't know why that, this is on a loop. I was like, why is this picture doing that? Okay, I turned the loop off. Let's see. Okay, that's not working. Okay, it just got rid of the picture. Okay. Okay, that's the beach. We saw that already.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Jay and Sarah and the workshop. Okay, so this is Darlene. Uh-oh. Let's see if it'll do it again.
It's to you. It's to you.
So this is the same, but it's a different view on the wall of the fortress. From I want to say the 17th century, so 1680 something, something, something. And in the recorded videos, I will have the names of the locations and the cities on the pictures. But because I am doing a live stream, I just wanted to share some of the views. And it was just amazing. It was kind of a cloudy day, but it was just such a really special honor to have them come join me. They actually spent a week in Paris as well and have their own stories, but they they took the train down to Chinon and spent time with myself and my friend Jonathan, and that was super cool. And that is really it for here. Let me turn that off, and then I'm gonna see if I can't switch to here. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. I lost myself. Okay. Can you see I'm still figuring out how to do it? Okay, I want to make it just be one. Okay, let me go back there. Except I don't know how to tell it. I want it to be just my hide layouts. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see if I do it this way. Not available with sharing media. Okay, let me stop sharing the media. What happens if I close that? I'm sorry, I'm pushing buttons here, trying to figure out how to get rid of that, but it's not working. So let me go to the comments. We will have to do the Q&A with Darlene and her lovely husband, Richard, with us. Darlene, chime in if you need to, if you have an answer. Let's see. Can you make your screen bigger to minimize the backdrop? Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I could not. Sorry about that. It's the beauty of starting a YouTube channel. A lot of people like me, they say we're the biggest growing segment of the YouTube audience, and that is people over 50. And so if you're thinking about YouTube channel, you should definitely do one. Let's see. Yes, we can see. Yes, I can see here the videos. Hi, Crystal. Oh, there's my friend Tia. Tia's Tia hasn't been anywhere with me, but Tia's been my prayer partner for about 5 years. And every week, mostly, I would say we're 95% faithful on Saturday or Sunday morning. And I'm really grateful for that. Persian Gulf. Oh, thank you. Somebody said that's the space. That was the answer, I think, to what is between Iran and Qatar, which is where I was. And why a lot of people are not traveling to that area, because they are American airline allies who have been repeatedly attacked by Iran because they can't get to us. So let's see. Kiva is here. So, oh yeah, I didn't talk about the co-living community. So I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to get Kiva on for an interview. But Kiva is the owner of a co-living community, and I really want to share co-living with you all. I haven't really done co-living. I wouldn't call co-living what I did. Staying in Dr. Davia's condo with her and without her is not really co-living. So co-living, to my understanding, and hopefully this is why I want her on the channel. But I do intend to do co-living in my next sabbatical in 2027. There are spaces where you basically sign up to live in a room in a house with other people who are also renters. So I want to say it's probably a little bit like a boarding house, but not necessarily, because different, you know people and you are in community with people. So the one I'm interested in going to is in Central America. And there are other, it is for women 50 and up. There's also one that's really famous in San Miguel de Allende that Stephanie Perry talked about on her channel just, was it yesterday or last week? I don't know. This week I watched last Saturday's video, so I'm a little confused on when she talked about it. But basically, co-living is an amazing way to share expenses if you want to travel, but you're traveling on a budget, or maybe you just don't want to spend all your money on lodging, or if you're in a place that's most expensive. So, oh, Christine, my friend. So Christine's one of my, we have, Christine and I have been friends so long that we are no longer telling people how long we've been friends, but we met in undergrad. Okay. So that's, I'll leave it there. And she is great with the geography too. I'm very interested in co-living. Stephanie Exodus Summit. Yeah. So Kiva has a Facebook group. Kiva, can you put the name of your Facebook group in here? I'm pretty sure that's Kiva. I actually never knew her last name, but I'm pretty sure that's her. But Kiva and I are in a WhatsApp group. It's her WhatsApp group, but I'm active in it. And I also have gotten a lot of support in terms of information on what to do. And in fact, the woman who introduced me to co-living and her co-living location, or her spot in Central America, I met through Kiva's group. So just like I ended up in Bangkok because of Dr. Davia and Sisters of Influence, my next leg, I will be spending time in Ecuador, Colombia, and Guatemala, I think, are the three places. It's obviously not for a year, so I will be leaving it next summer. So I have time to figure it out. Interested in co-living. Okay, I'm interested in co-living. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, I think co-living is the way to go. I mean, particularly if you know how to be a good roommate, right? The way that Kiva has done co-living, and I'm just sharing a little bit of her story, is you meet someone in the co-living group and you plan a trip together. It could be 1 week, 1 month, forever. The other person I know who does co-living, who has been interviewed, I have been interviewed on her channel, but I've not yet interviewed her in my channel, which is Diamond Crystal. She has a Facebook community that's for house sitting, but she just recently started co-living. She has a partner that she travels with, and they basically signed a year-long lease in Bangkok. So they're co-living in a more permanent way than just for a sabbatical. But it makes perfect sense if you are on a budget, or you want to make sure that you reserve as much of your money for travel or for experiences or for other things, especially as we age. I think a lot of times as solo travel, it's not intimidating. It can be intimidating, but I think also there are people who worry about you. Like, what happens if you're by yourself? Some of you know that last year this time it was actually a week, this week is the anniversary of my accident in the airport in Guadalajara, Mexico. I had a really difficult knee injury, and for almost a week, I could barely walk. Fortunately, I got great medical care immediately, and within 2 weeks, I was walking, but I was in a lot of pain. So you know how the doctor says, well, what's your pain level from 0 to 10? I was like 8, 7.5, 7.25. It was a long time before I got down to 5. Once I got down to 5, I was good. I was able to do what I needed to do to be functional. And it was a challenge. I was fortunate that my son had planned to visit me in Guadalajara, and so he just stayed. And so I did have the support in the room and in the Airbnb, and that was a blessing in disguise. But the nice thing about co-living is that there's somebody there. You can be their support person and they can be your support person, particularly if you have maybe illness or you have an injury or something happens. But I think there are other ways. For me, I have been able to find that by connecting with expat groups in advance of being there. And I tend to go places that other people I know have also traveled. So it also happens to me every place I've been, including Kuala Lumpur. The one woman I met was somebody I met through somebody in Chiang Mai. Somebody said, "Oh, I was in Kuala Lumpur and I met so and so, and you should get together and have dinner with her." And I did, and it was wonderful. And her son came, and we had a great time. So that is something I will definitely put more interest in, is the co-living. So if you have other questions, let's see. Okay, let me do. I'm just trying to refresh. It looks like I got all the questions. So I think we're done, and it's actually 7:52. So I know I talk fast, which is another reason why I stopped doing live streams. I feel like the recorded, there's a lot of moving parts, and I would say even though my YouTube channel is now like 18 months old, I started it in December of 2024. Is that right? Yeah, because it's 2026. So I feel like I can do some things really well and some things without feeling anxious about it. But I talk fast when I'm not nervous as in like something's going to happen, but just, just like I realized I needed a napkin and it was over in the kitchen and I had to get up and leave. So things like that, like being able to plan through. So the last thing I wanted to do was just show you guys before I said goodbye, and some of the things that I got. Some of you may know that I like to collect fans. So this is a beautiful, it don't want to open, so I don't know if it's beautiful or not. It was opening. Oh, okay. I'm not really sure why it's not opening. Okay, there we go. You guys see this? So it says Vietnam. Beautiful hand-painted fan. And then I also got a fan, as well as some other things, some candy from Voca Mabel, the hotel. Because it was my birthday, so it's in this little beautiful lace bag. I actually have a seal on it still. It is a fabric fan, so it's a little bit more fancy than the other one. I showed you the stuff from, so this also came from, Vietnam. So I bought a set of 6 of these and was giving them to different people that were, basically taking such good care of me while I was gone. It's a little silk pouch. And then Jonathan was nice enough to take Darlene and Richard and I to a wine tasting, and they got a bottle of wine. And then later I went to this place that does rosé and sparkling wine. And so this is a bottle that I came home with kind of illegally. And then also in France, I went to this beautiful Indian sari shop where they make these beautiful silk bags from basically leftover material. And I got a couple of those, and that was really nice. I, as you know, don't get to bring much souvenirs because my bags are always overweight. And I still ended up, when I got back 3 weeks ago, having to give Frontier. I took an international flight to Miami and then a Frontier flight to get here to Atlanta. And this is another one of my prized possessions. This is a bracelet from Malaysia. Malaysia has a lot of Indian stores, food shops, which is really nice. So I would say it's more of a culture of fusion. So I'm going to do a little bit more research to share with you what that really means and how that came about before I do the recorded video. So let's see. At Kiva, if you're still online, I would be willing to share the link to your Facebook. I will put it in, I will go back and update, the description to this video, and I will put the co-living information in there. Just got here. Oh, Dr. Brian, we're wrapping up. You made it just in time for the end. But of course, it'll take a few minutes to get itself together, and then it will be available as a recording. And I will go back and actually take segments of this and put them together in the recorded videos for each section. But I'm really grateful to everyone who was able to come today. It looks like at least, I don't know how much people were here earlier, but we have 13 people here now. Please like the video. And I know people have already put a comment in. That really helps it go out to other people. And Dr. Brian, it was such a pleasure to have the opportunity to reconnect with you in the poetry club and all the other stuff that we did with Dr. Davia. And it was just amazing. And let's see. France and Spain have amazing low prices on clothing. Yeah, that was one thing that was on my list that I did not get to do, by the way, is tailor-made clothing is really big in, I want to say it's Hanoi, Vietnam, which is not far from where I was in Da Nang, Vietnam. So my plan is, with a lot of my friends who are in here, like Darlene and Christine, is to go back next year and have a capsule wardrobe made. You can have complete custom-made clothing. You can even select your fabric and have it shipped them, and they will make it or make accent pieces with your fabric, or you can choose the fabric they have on hand. But you can get a whole 12-piece wardrobe for, depending on whether you want, lines and pockets, and I want all the things, right? For under $1,000. I've heard people say 700 or 800 or what have you. You can actually just go to the market and have a dress made for $25 or a blouse made for $20. They measure you and you come back the next day and you pick up your blouse. You pick the fabric that they have there. And I actually went to do that and ended up not doing that because I was like, okay, I actually have plenty of dresses that look like this dress that she had. But what you have to do is create the capsule yourself, and you go there or you send them ahead of time what you want, what are the silhouettes and the fabrics that you want. And so I really didn't want to piecemeal it. I know that that's something that will be really helpful to me as a full-time traveler, to have a set of 12 pieces that go together. And there's also leather workers where you can have custom shoes and belts and purses made. I did have a purse made when I was in San Jose, Costa Rica, when I had my teeth done. I didn't actually talk about that experience, but on the video of Costa Rica, I talked mostly about dental tourism. But that's a big thing that is accessible in Mexico and Central America as well as Asia, having custom things made. Let's see. Dr. Brian, is there anything you want to share in the chat? Do you have any? Let's see. Okay, I got another question. I see two more. Yes, I love clothing. Let's see. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I promised you that we would finish in an hour, and I want to honor that. I also want to go eat my dinner. I cooked earlier today, but it's really been a blessing to be at home. Oh, I know what I got to do. I got to do my thank yous. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. I'm actually going to be reading. So the invitation that started it all. So basically, this is just a way to, on camera, like thank people who have been so wonderful to me. And so the person who started the whole thing, Dr. Davia Brown Franklin, and the Adventures While Black family in Bangkok. I did a lot of research from their channel. There are two, not one, but two soul food restaurants in Bangkok. So if you love soul food, you got to see what it's like in Bangkok. And I actually ate at one of them that opened. They had their grand opening like right as I was coming back from Chiang Mai. So I was really blessed to be able to do that. The other persons that I want to thank are the mature women of Bangkok, Diamond and Crystal, as well as Yvette Malcion. In Chiang Mai, Sabrina Cates, the curator of the events that I attended, as well as my dear friend, Dr. Brian Ragsdale, who I've known for a very long time, Dacia for all her amazing training. She's at Delightful. She's a wonderful content creator and consultant. If you have a channel and you want to hire somebody to help you get sponsors. So it was a great workshop. It was like 3 hours, very affordable. In Da Nang, Vietnam, Sarah and Jay, also YouTubers and content creators. The Brothers and Sisters of Da Nang community, the Bible study circle. I don't know, I forgot the name of what that's called. And then also Ruth and Anita and JJ, a photographer, all of the staff at Voca Mabel Hotel who helped me with my birthday. It wasn't even my birthday, but they knew that my trip was in honor of my 60th birthday, and they gave me a cake. Also to all the people that co-worked with me. I did a lot of content work. I got a lot of work done in Da Nang. I love co-working. In Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, I didn't say his name, but there's a guy by the name of Abraham who is a romance writer that I had breakfast with many mornings at the Holiday Inn, and he really inspired me to really pick up creative writing again. I shared with him the experience that I had in the Poetry and Writing Club in Chiang Mai. He's published like 25 books, and he writes about social issues through romance fiction, which I find very fascinating. I never would have thought that somebody would use that angle to get people to think about things. So it was such a insightful conversation and inspiring also, because he's like younger than me. 25 books. So also in France, I went to multiple cities. I don't think Quinn was on today, from Nantes and from the CEO Collective, to also my Chicago expat community. Even though I'm in Atlanta and I'm trying to start an expat group here with my friend Teresa. I don't know if Teresa was on tonight, but the Chicago people really hold me down. They are so amazing, and I miss them very, very, very dearly. I also want to give a shout out and a thank you to my friend Darlene, who came tonight, and her husband Richard, who we had the best, 48 hours of fun together, maybe 72 hours of fun together in Chinon, France. We went to so many chateaus in that one time period, and it was just really special. And also to my friend Jonathan, who fed us and took us around. I want to thank also finally David and Deborah, who crossed the ocean to celebrate my 60th birthday with me in Paris and drove me all through the iconic sites. In fact, I couldn't even tell you. I would literally have to look at the pictures to see where we were. That's how quickly we moved from place to place to place. The one thing I want to do also is to just remind you that I have a community. Let me see if I can find it. Savvy Sisters, so free resources. I have, this is actually in my Substack article that's coming out tomorrow, but I'm going to put the, if I can find it, the link, I want to put the link in the chat. I was going to put the link in the chat. I don't know what I did. Let's see. I might not be able to put the link in the chat. So the link will be in the description. Actually, it might be here. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do instead is share my screen. Let's see, can I share the share button? Let's see, what is this? Add a member, microphone, video. Someone is currently sharing screen. Yeah, it's not letting me do that. I have to, yeah, because I never figured out how to. Well, anyway, I hope you learned something today. I hope you enjoyed the recap. I just am really grateful for all of you all to be here tonight and to give me an hour on your Sunday night. I am not planning to do, I had a goal of doing weekly live streams at the beginning of the year, and that's just not sustainable. I am trying to be on Substack twice a month. I'm trying to post on YouTube every week, and I will do live streams either on a special occasion, like the anniversary of my channel is coming up, and I'm thinking about doing, I actually started my channel or created the channel 2 years ago, but I didn't post anything for 5 months. So the anniversary of me posting it, YouTube has sent me a message that it's coming. I missed celebrating my 100th video, so that was something that I didn't celebrate. So if there's like a milestone like that, or when we get to 500 people, right now I have 288 subscribers. So if you know somebody that loves to travel that would enjoy this channel, and is really interested in Southeast Asia and France, all of my content for the next 3 months will be about Southeast Asia and France, because I'll be here. And I'll eventually probably go live while I'm in England. Actually, now that I think about it, while I'm in London, I'll probably go live. But it depends, really. So I do feel like we're building a great community. And so the idea behind Savvy Sisters Travel and Thrive is it's a school community, it's a free community, but we can have private conversations. You know, when you do a live stream or when you're on YouTube, it's kind of like having a meeting in the public library or in Starbucks. Like anybody can show up and anybody can ask anything and do things. The good thing is this is a micro channel, so nobody's really worried about what I'm doing because there's only 300 subscribers. But what's nice about the school community, as we grow, I could share more personal information, like real financial details, and give you some, referral links to do some things in a way that I don't feel is appropriate or safe here. Like there are a lot of things that I could have told you about my experience with Qatar Airlines, which ended up being great, but it was great because I used resources that I would love to tell you about, but I can't tell you about publicly. So read between the lines. So that is the reason why I think these private communities are necessary. Also, I wanted to share with you my Substack, which actually I can put that in the chat. Control C. Let's see. I was gonna show you the page, but if you click on it, it'll allow me to stay in touch with you. Right now, you can be a free or paid subscriber. I think the annual fee is, if you want to support my work, my travel, my content creation journey, is $50 for the year. And I want to say $5 or $6 a month. I have 2 paid subscribers currently on Substack, but I really love writing, and writing has really been very nourishing for me to be able to reflect. I feel like I think more deeply about what I've been through, and I'm in that phase right now. The piece that I'm posting, or that is scheduled to post tomorrow, is basically about, it's called my Savasana. It's a yoga pose, and it's really about endings and the art of letting go, and just what does it mean to be back and to reflect on all the things that happened while I was gone. So I'm gonna put a pin in it here. I think we've done enough tonight, and I'm so grateful if you would please hit the like button, share the link with someone, or save it for later. I think that also counts as a share if you save it to watch later, or send it to someone, so that the YouTube algorithm knows that what we're doing here on this channel is of value to people. Thank you so much again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.